late-night paperwork, a quiet signature. And suddenly, the temperature around the Lakers' guard rotation flips from rumor to reality. Because what happened with Bronny James's deal doesn't scream from a headline. It hums through everything that matters: how minutes are earned, how the cap is maneuvered under apron pressure, and how a young guard's development stops being marketing noise and becomes basketball substance that holds up in April. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report. I'm here, locked in with you, and if you ride with clean information delivered straight, hit like and subscribe so this breakdown finds more Laker fans who love the details as much as the dunks, because tonight is about clarity, leverage, and why this contract update is a bigger swing for winning than most people realize, even if it looks like a small move on the transaction line. All season long, the league has been reading us like a puzzle. Some nights the offense hums, other nights we grind, and around the NBA the word unpredictable keeps getting stapled to the purple and gold. But if you peel back the sticker and look at the choices the front office is making, a through line appears: controllable contracts, functional depth, and a coaching staff that prizes clean possessions over loud ones. That's the context for Bronny's paper getting set the way it did. Because in a contender's world, guarantees and options aren't just accounting tools, they're breathing room. And breathing room is what lets a young guard learn without having the floor pulled out from under him every time shots don't fall. I've watched the film, I've watched the body language, and I'm telling you the story here isn't hype, it's habits. This staff wants second-side guards who move the ball at 0.5 speed. Catch, decide, deliver. So the advantage Luka-type creation or Reeves-type pacing generates doesn't die in sticky hands. They want screeners who understand angles, not just strength. They want spacers who sprint to the corner with intent, so a tagger has to make a choice. They want defenders who fight through the first screen without overhelping on the nail. This is the league now. The difference between a 2-point lead and a 5-point loss is 6 possessions where the non-stars either keep the chain or break it. And that's where the contract clarity hits the court. Because the moment you lock a guaranteed year into a standard NBA deal, not a two-way, not a 10-day roulette, you give a coach permission to invest real minutes in a player's decision-making without stressing over a paperwork shuffle every third night. That steadies roles, that tightens teaching points, that builds trust. I'm not pretending the expectations disappear. If anything, they get sharper, but they get productive. Defend your yard, stay on balance at the elbow, hit the open corner three, keep the advantage alive, and don't foul on the tag. Do those things, and your name fades into the system in the best way possible, because the possession ends with a good shot, and the camera cuts to the scoreboard instead of the bench. This is where I want to be precise without drowning us in CBA jargon. The structure on Bronny's deal sets 3 clean checkpoints the organization controls. This season's guarantee provides stability right now. A partial guarantee in the next season gives a mid-calendar lever after months of film. And a team option on the back end parks a final decision in the summer down the road. Translated into fan English, that means the team can commit to a real development runway today, revisit fit with leverage later, and ultimately choose continuity or flexibility when the broader roster picture is in focus. For a franchise operating under apron pressure, that is exactly how you keep a window open. Cheap, controllable depth around expensive star power. With outs, if the market hands you a veteran guard or a switchable wing you can't pass up in January. Now let me pull this into basketball pictures you can feel in your bones. Think about the second quarter of a Tuesday road game. Starters are staggered, the building is loud, and the opponent is switching heavy to gum up the rhythm. The job in those minutes is not to hunt hero shots, it's to connect actions. Bronny's value in that bridge is angles and timing. Set an inside foot ghost screen so the handler gets the defender's shoulder, slip hard to force the low man to choose, lift to the slot on time, shoot in rhythm if the closeout is late, swing on time if it's hot. If the big comes up to the level, punch the pocket and cut through so the backside can't sit. If the defense drops, flip the screen, force the footwork change, and let the ball breathe. That's grown man basketball built on small decisions. And small decisions are earned through reps. Reps come from stability. Stability comes from paper. Defensively, there's nothing sexy to sell you, and that's the point. Screen navigation, low man awareness, 2-foot closeouts, and discipline at the nail are all about being right, not being loud. If he keeps his chest square on the first bump and uses his hands to stunt instead of swipe, he buys the right to miss a shot and stay on the floor. If he overhelps, reaches, or loses the weak side shooter, he sits. The contract doesn't change that truth. It just makes the feedback loop cleaner, because the staff can teach to a stable role instead of chasing survival minutes from whoever's on a two-way that night. I've heard people ask whether G League assignments would undercut momentum. The answer inside good organizations is always the same. Not if the paper is stable. Assignment time is a runway to rehearse volume reps. 50 pick and rolls in a weekend, every coverage, every read. Then you come back up and plug into the role that wins NBA possessions. That's how you translate skill work into role work. And because the guarantee is in place, everyone understands it's part of the plan, not a demotion. Players can exhale, coaches can push, and the product improves. There's also a locker room reality here that matters and too often gets missed. Veterans reward correctness. If you sprint to the right spot, screen with purpose, talk on defense, and move the rock on time, the ball finds you again. That's the currency that builds a career. That's also the currency that converts fan noise into trust inside the building. Bronny's path in that room is the same as every young guard on a contender. Cut ego down to the job, let the work speak, and stack correct possessions until the rotation can't live without them. Now zoom out to the front office chessboard, because this is where tonight's update is a lever, not a headline. A guaranteed year on a sub-mid-level cap hit is the sweet spot for contenders. It's big enough to help in micro-matching if a small deal opens up, but small enough to preserve breathing room under the apron. Pair that with a partial guarantee next year, and you've got a decision gate that lines up with the most active part of the trade calendar. Finish it with a team option down the road and you own continuity if the development curve bends up. That's not accidental, and it's not just nice. It's the exact way you keep the lights on for big runs without burning all your future picks just to fill bench minutes. There's a human layer, too. The weight of the last name, the cameras, the opinions, the split screen every time he checks in. The only way through that is to make the conversation boring, good closeout, right cut, clean swing, correct tag, and let the tape crowd out the hashtags. That's how coaches trust you and how teammates pull for you. And when the paperwork says the organization is invested in your runway, it's easier to put your head down and live in the work. I don't want to romanticize anything. The swing skills are real and unapologetic. The corner three has to hold at a credible clip. The one-dribble pull-up has to be strong enough to punish hot closeouts. And the decisions have to stay fast when better defenders sit on your first move. But the role doesn't ask him to be a 20-point microwave every night. It asks him to be correct in 8 to 12 possessions and to make them count. If those are there, the staff will keep going back to the well, especially in the dead leg nights where the bench wins or loses the game by being mature. Zoom forward to the moments that actually decide seasons. Game 4s and 5s where the series tilts. That's when your 8th and 9th men matter. That's when a guard who sets a perfect angle, makes a perfect 0.5 read, and takes a charge at the right time, buys a star 2 minutes of rest, and wins you a 5-point swing. You don't notice until you check the box score. Contract clarity before the grind is how you build those players and those moments. It separates the teams who are improvising from the ones who are rehearsed. I can feel you asking the cap geek question, so I'll go there in straight talk. This isn't about showing off a spreadsheet, it's about respecting the physics of a modern contender. When your top salaries are heavy and the apron is a hard reality, the only way you stay flexible is to stack low-cost, team-controlled contributors who fit your stars and your system. Bronny's deal now lives in that bucket. Predictable money this season, leverage in the next, an organizational choice at the end. That is coherent, that is consistent, and that is the opposite of chaos. The rest is development and coaching. And now, because we've earned it, here's the update clean and clear. The Lakers have formalized Bronny James's status on a standard multi-year NBA contract with this season fully guaranteed. A partial guarantee checkpoint in the following season that functions as a built-in lever for roster decisions, and a club option on the back end that the organization controls. In practical basketball terms, it means no two-way limbo, no 10-day shuffle, and a real, planned runway to evaluate and grow his role across months, not weeks, while the staff locks in the habits that translate to playoff minutes. That's the headline. The value lives in everything we just walked through. I want your voice in this because Laker fans are at our best when we weigh the long game against the nightly grind. Are you backing the patience play? Guarantee now. Evaluate later, hold the final option, or would you flip an asset early for a veteran ball handler, even if it tightens the apron and costs a future pick? Tell me below how you'd play those decision gates and what kinds of lineups you want to see in those second-unit bridges, because this is our space to be smart about basketball, not just loud. My read, tight and professional. This is good business that supports good basketball. The structure gives J.J. Redick license to coach a stable role. It gives Rob Pelinka flexibility to operate when the market heats up. And it gives Bronny a fair lane to turn improved screen navigation, quicker 0.5 reads, and corner shooting into minutes that actually matter. If he stacks correct possessions, the name on the back fades and the number on the scoreboard rises, which is the only metric that counts when the series gets dark and the noise gets quiet. If you want more of these honest, inside-out breakdowns in your feed, subscribe, drop a like so the algorithm knows Laker Nation still values context over chaos, and turn on alerts. The second the next lever moves, a wing shooter shakes loose, a defensive guard forces a rethink, or a G League stretch demands a call-up, you'll get the film, the fit, and the why straight from me to you.